Good day, viewer. You're welcome to our new series titled Deepening the Conversation. This new short video series is drawn from the regular Friday column titled Conversation with Azu, published on the back page of Leadership newspaper and syndicated in the Vanguard newspaper of the same day. It is further syndicated in Nigeria, Argentina, South Africa, Ghana, Europe, and in the United States. This series is to deepen the discussion on topical issues that may not have been fully elaborated in writing, but are nevertheless critical to national and international discourse, and could broaden perspectives for the benefit of the subject and the reader. Azu, the award-winning columnist, will be answering some such questions on this channel. You are welcome to the very first of the episodes.
Thank you.
In your analysis on Jacinda Ardern, you have noted that Jacinda Ardern is leaving office at the age of 42, and you referenced Cameroonian President Paul Biya, who is 89 and still on the saddle. How is your analogy relevant to the candidates and the general elections coming up in Nigeria on February 25th?
Thank you very much for having me on, and I say a big welcome to viewers and those who will be watching this series both here and around the world. But to just deal with your question about the relevance of the age of Ardern Jacinda, the outgoing New Zealand Prime Minister, and how that resonates or relates to the situation in Nigeria. Of course, you may have also noticed that since the campaigns were flagged off in September of 2022, the age of the front runners of the two of the three parties has been a point of interest to members of the public, both issues of health, issues of fitness, and so forth and so on. So in that context, one may say that there is something to look at and something to relate to. But also in the piece which you referenced at the beginning, I also made the point that, yes, age is important, but I also referred to the situation of Liz Truss. Liz Truss, the former Prime Minister of the UK, as you recall, became Prime Minister at the age of 47, which as numbers go, would be a good age to step in. But she ended up a disaster. So, yes, age is important, but it's not all there is. Age and fitness are absolutely important, and I believe that voters and the entire country are entitled to know as much as possible candidates that they intend to vote for. So my reference to Jacinda, to come back to the point, my reference to Jacinda was the vibrance of youth, the vibrance of her age. That's very important, especially in the world in which we are. Also, if you keep in mind that about 60-65% of Nigeria's population is young, and a significant percentage also of those 93.5 million who will be voting, who have registered to vote in March, in February and March, are also young people. So I'm sure that young people, being young people, will be looking for icons that they can relate to.
All right. A quick follow-up on that, please. You referenced former British Prime Minister Winston Churchill and former US President Franklin Roosevelt in order to seemingly to strike a balance. You seem to be saying youth and experience can serve to achieve the same result, or what actually are you driving at?
I think I'm driving at moments because if youth was all there is to a good candidate, as I also talked about, Liz Truss, she probably would have a lot of people expected a lot more. But I referenced the examples of Winston Churchill, who became British Prime Minister at 66 and had a second term at 77, and also referenced, as you said, FDR, who was a paralytic but governed from just to also create a sense of balance. To let people know that there are people who, in spite of physical or what you may call chronological age challenges still manage to acquit themselves well. That was the reason why I brought that in addition to these factors, there are also other factors that voters should, in my view, keep in mind as they consider what the choices that are before them amongst the 18 flag bearers at the presidential level. Of course, you know that the election is not only an election for a president. We're also going to have the election for different, the National Assembly election and the governorship election coming up in March as well. But I think it's important to know one's moment. And that is the whole point of the conversation about Ardern as an exemplary leader. You know, whether you are young, you are old, you are physically challenged, whatever it is, once you are step into a position of leadership, you should know when it is time to quit or when it is not time to step up. I think that for me is at the heart of the very difficult decision that Ardern, because Ardern had she had the wind in her sails, so to speak, in terms of age, in terms of performance. But she knew her moment, and I think that's worth emulating.
Wow. Well, to change the direction of the questions now, and I will draw an example. New Zealand has a population of just about 5.2 million based on projections of the latest UN data, and a male to female ratio of 966 to 1,000, which is lower than the global average. How do you think this impacts on gender issues in relation to governance in Nigeria and perhaps on the African continent?
I do not underestimate the importance of orientation or gender issues in choices that we make. Fairness, equity, representation, inclusiveness in politics. But inclusiveness, as you would know, is not just only about gender. It's also about, inclusiveness is a much broader concept. Of course, gender is an important part of inclusiveness. But as far as inclusiveness and diversity are concerned as values, there is called the Not Too Young to Run bill that takes care of much younger people, whether they are male or female. You know, I'm talking about Nigeria. And I think that there's also the move in some states to commit to a higher quota, if you like, of
35% affirmative action.
Yes, positive affirmative action, so to speak. So yes, in that sense, it would be good not to have people step up to the plate either because of their orientation or because of their agenda, but because of their capacity to serve. So of course, I do look forward to the time in Nigeria when we have a far more diverse and inclusive array of people stepping forward to serve. But I do support whatever can positively encourage groups that have been excluded, whether they are physically challenged people or whether it's based on gender. I totally support a situation where we can create a much bigger tent for everyone to be a part of.
All right, viewers, thank you for staying tuned. Just as we've done now, we shall be detailing conversations on this channel. Be sure to follow, like, share our content. Above all, visit www.azuishekwene.com to read the entire column Conversations with Azu every Friday. Let's deepen the conversation on this space always. Drop your relevant, civil, and polite comments, suggestions, and observations on the subject at Twitter/AzuIshekwene.
At AzuIshekwene, yes.
I'll repeat that, Twitter at AzuIshekwene. AzuIshekwene is one word, Azu is capital A and Ishekwene is capital I. Thanks for staying tuned.
Thanks for watching and thanks for having me. Thank you.